Welcome to the WRAL Daily Download. I'm Amanda Lamb. In today's deep dive conversation with Five on Your Side's Keely Arthur, we're going to talk about medical billing and what happens when you are seriously overbilled. Keely, welcome to the program.
Hi, Amanda.
So you have been working on this for 6 months, and it starts with a love story.
Yes.
Tell me about Ron and Patricia.
Yeah, so the way I found out about it is Patricia was coming to Five on Your Side for help. But you always want to learn about the people that you're helping. And she was in a really, really sad spot. She had met this gentleman named Ron. They were at a party together and he was playing the piano.
And they were young, right?
She was 18 and he was 22. And she mentioned while he was playing the piano that she also did. So he said, "Come sit down next to me." And they started playing a duet. And she said before she knew it, they were kissing on the bench. And so she always said, "Oh, we met on a piano bench." And they were together for 4 years until they got married. So they dated for 4 years and then were married for nearly 5 decades. And just like thick as thieves, and were each other's teammates, partners.
So that's really tough because then he passes away
Right.
of cancer, correct?
She admits he was a smoker all of his life, and he was diagnosed with lung cancer in 2021. He lasted another year, had chemo. He was trying to get his hand fixed and dentures, different things done because he was a music teacher and would have these one-man plays and things that he would do. So he was trying. She said that she thought he still had some hope, but he died in April of 2022. So
she gets a bill. She's going through grief. She's mourning the love of her life. She gets a bill for $178,000. I mean, I can't even wrap my head around that.
Yes.
So how did she react to that? This was a hospital bill or a medical bill, a lot of bills, I'm sure, from different providers that were treating her husband.
She said that she was in deep despair. Her mind wasn't working correctly because the person that she had been with since she was 18, now she's near her 70s, was gone. And he was the one who always dealt with insurance, dealt with these types of things. So a few weeks after he dies, she starts getting these bills from Duke Health, and it's like $900, $1,000, $2,000. They all start adding up. And she's confused because of her grief and because of the fact that they had these 2 insurance policies. So she knows that she should get coverage. And eventually it leads, it grows to more than $100,000. And then by the time you total it by the summer, it's at $178,000.
Wow. And you mentioned she had 2 policies. So she had Medicaid, and then they were also state employees. They were educators, and so they had insurance through that. And I've had a personal experience with this because my mom had brain cancer, and I remember going to pick up a prescription for her one time for oral chemo, and they told me it was going to be $12,000. And I was like, that doesn't make sense. And it turned out when we started putting all the dots together that they were running it wrong. And I have another friend that recently had a situation like that with her mother. So this had to be confusing to her when they had such good coverage to be getting these bills.
And she wanted to turn to Ron, her husband, and say, "Hey, can you help with this? He's gone." And she knew it was wrong, but every time she would call the insurance companies in Duke Health, she really wasn't. She never got the answer on the phone saying, "Oh, this is wrong. We'll fix it. We'll help you." She was told, "This is how it is, and the best we can do is a payment plan."
Right. So she's now in the position where she's thinking, oh my gosh, I might have to dig into my life savings. I might lose my house. And tell me about this payment plan. It was really kind of outrageous.
Yeah, she called all of this paralyzing because not only was she worried about losing her home and dipping her savings, she felt like she couldn't spend money on anything because it was so expensive. The payment plan, and so many times I feel like everyone listening, please fight this before you get hooked into doing a payment plan, because it sounds, more manageable, but it's really not. You're still going to pay that money. So it was 72 months, which is 6 years. You're going to pay, I think it was $2,472.46 a month for 72 months. That's what she was going to have to pay
and
all
I'm
this
sure
off.
She's on a fixed income. I mean, this was untenable.
Yes.
So we're going to find out exactly what happened after the break with more from Five on Your Side's Keely Arthur. How about they stepped in and got some results? Welcome back to the WRAL Daily Download. I'm talking with Keely Arthur about one family's plight involving some serious medical bills. So Patricia's husband dies of cancer. The final bill, I think you said, was at one point up to $194,000.
Yes.
That's a house. I mean, that's something that most people would not be able to get their hands on.
Right.
So these insurance companies, based on her complaints, based on your inquiry, they go back to the drawing board to say, well, maybe we didn't do this right. What happens next?
Yeah, so she reaches out to us in August because so her husband dies in April. She gets the bills starting coming in May. And by August, she's told, okay, you can go on this payment plan for $2,000 some dollars, pay that every month for 6 years. She doesn't know who to turn to. So she emails us looking for some sort of assistance. And while she's emailing us, calls Duke Health and says, take me off the payment plan. I cannot pay $2,000 a month. This is just, I got to figure something else out. So we get involved. Anytime we work on a medical solve, I have to get all these waivers because I'm getting like medical related
HIPAA stuff.
Yeah. And so I'm getting, I'm working with United Health, which is one of her the insurance. That was
and that's
her
Medicare, correct.
And then she had Blue Cross Blue Shield through work. And then Duke Health was where Ron, her late husband, got the chemo and end-of-life care and all that. So we get involved. Turns out both of the insurance companies are battling over who's the primary payer. It turns out it should be United Health. That's the Medicare. They're the primary payer, and then it's Blue Cross Blue Shield. But the reason why she was being left to have to pay all this is because the insurance companies hadn't decided who was going to be the primary payer. So she was kind of caught in that mess, which sounds, so ridiculous.
I mean, so finally she gets this answer. What was the answer and what was her reaction? So
the answer at first was, oh, sorry, United Health is the correct and primary payer, and then it's Blue Cross Blue Shield. We got this, that's solved. They're talking to me more than they're really talking to her at this point, which is also troubling. And I'm like, okay, great. Well, where does that leave her in terms of what she's on the hook for, what she has to pay? Well, we got to go through all the claims again, yada, yada, yada. So it's still, we had that answer in the fall, but we still didn't know how much Patricia was really going to have to pay. We stayed on them. Patricia stayed on them. And in December, she got a phone call from Duke Health saying, your balance, what was $194,000, is now zero because the insurance came in and did what they were supposed to do.
How did she react to that?
Oh, it was her first Christmas without her late husband. And she said that this really brought her some joy and lightness in her heart. I think I have goosebumps talking about it because so many times Five on Your Side, we want to get people their money back and stuff, but money is so emotional. Money is people's livelihoods. And so I think to have the weight that $194,000 was weighing on her, to have that taken away and told, hey, you really don't have to pay anything. You really should have never had to pay anything. And in fact, the months that she had made payments, all that was refunded back to her as well.
Oh, that's fantastic. And I know part of your story was that she said, Ron would have never done this to me. He would have never left me in a position to pay bills like this.
Right.
So there was that, like you said, that emotional layer in addition to the money.
Yeah. And we talked about how she felt like Ron was with her and was happy for her to see this. Because, yeah, he took care of everything. She's not foolish or dumb. She just she trusted her husband.
Her wheelhouse. It wasn't her wheelhouse. Yeah. So I know we've talked, you do these stories not just to help this one person, but because there are other people that are very likely in this situation. I'm sure that you believe there are other families that have experienced this and maybe just said, okay, I guess we'll just pay it.
Right, because you don't want to go into debt. Hospitals can sell your debt, and can ruin your credit score. So, Patricia didn't want to put anyone on blast, but she certainly wanted to help educate people. And when you talk about how other people are probably in this situation, absolutely. Experts think that 80% of the medical bills anyone receives in this country are wrong. They are incorrect in some way.
That is an amazing statistic. I mean, it really makes you think about looking at your bills more closely. So this is a cautionary tale. Is that the advice you would give people at this point?
Yeah. Sometimes we step in and like somebody pays something off or whatever. That we should have never had to step in. If the insurance companies did what they were supposed to do, she never owed that money. It was on them. They were having their own issues. So this is the tale. If you're covered and you feel like you're being way overbilled, question it. Ask for an itemized bill. And a lot of times these companies, their first line of defense is, oh, we'll put you on a payment plan. Isn't that so helpful? Don't take that. Make sure you do your research. Make all the phone calls in the world until you're confident that even if it's a high bill, it's accurate. You need to know that it's correct.
Well, that is some great advice. Thank you so much for sharing this important information, Keely. I know that this is definitely one of those stories that's going to help other people. So really appreciate it. And thank you for listening to the WRAL Daily Download and making us part of your morning routine. Another great way to get WRAL news is the Morning Briefing newsletter. It's a daily email that's waiting in your inbox every morning with Triangle news, events, and headlines to get you ready for the day. Sign up at WRAL.com/newsletter.